Right, rolling. All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I always give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah Kodash. Give honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught us truth and who rule well. Mighty Shalom to the brothers teaching week in and week out, on the four corners of the earth, prophesying the downfall of Esau Edom as well as the hopeful elect, the 1/3 as well as the 144,000, and another mighty shalom to the believers, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, on the four corners of the earth, as well as the ones likened to the speckled bird, the ones that look like the other nations too. I say shalom. This is going to be probably a quick one. Just a quick backstory, I'm just going to get Romans 8 and 12 on down. But this video is I was inspired to do this video because I was working, I was cleaning up at work, and I was wiping off the computer, the mouse and keyboard, and as I was wiping it off, it typed 8 plus 14, and then somehow it Googled, it was crazy. It happened simultaneously, So I decided, to look to continue, looking at the screen, and the first website, that it went up was the Bible Gateway, Romans 8 and 14, and I decided to look at it. I'm like, cause it didn't register in my head for a second. I'm like, Romans 8 and 14. And it didn't hit me. I'm like, let me go ahead and just look at it when I get the chance, and I happened to looked at it when I went to the bathroom, but I didn't get a chance to do the video, so now I'm getting a chance to do the video. So this is pretty much like quick scripture today. So Lord willing, this video is edifying, to whoever may be listening. So this is Romans 8 and 12. It says, therefore, brethren, we are debtors, not to the flesh, to live after the flesh. For further edification, get in the NLT, it says, therefore, dear brothers and sisters, you have no obligation to do what your sinful nature urges you to do. And that's correct. The Lord offers us a way, to escape, roughly paraphrasing as the scriptures say, but this flesh, it urges you to want to go off. It's your natural instinct, as a person in general, is to act your own impulses, So the scripture saying, as 13th verse is going to say, don't live after the flesh, don't give in to your impulses, because it's a strong thing, and I'm currently dealing with that right now, to be transparent, to whoever may be listening, brothers deal with impulse problems all the time, myself included, and I have to stop and think like, damn, I'm fucking up. Excuse me for my French, but I be messing up, and I have to continuously every day try to mortify my members, as 13 verse say. I'm gonna read that, It says, for if you live after the flesh, ye shall die. But if ye through the Spirit do mortify the deeds of the body, ye shall live. And that's 100% correct, If you try to live towards the Spirit, try to live righteously, mortify your members. Let's get the word mortify. Right here. Mortify, it says to put to death. It says to make die, to render extinct, to by death to liberate it from a bond of anything, So we're trying to, remove that bond, from, what we want to do, from the flesh, and live towards the Spirit, living towards what Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua wants us to do, and offending less. So if you live by the Spirit, or you try to mortify your members day by day, dying daily, you shall live. Can you actively working towards, trying to be perfect in an imperfect body, in an imperfect world, Verse 14, it says, for as many are as led by the Spirit of the Most High Power. They are the sons of the Most High Power, you know. So the ones that come into this truth, you know, wholeheartedly, you know, seeking, you know, answers, seeking deliverance, seeking salvation, seeking where we came from, you know, and you know, actively being, you know, a brother or a sister, you know, to your Akim. You know, you are, you know, the sons of the power, you know. You are Israelite, you know. You part of the hopeful elect, Lord willing, you know. It says, for ye have not received the spirit of bondage again to fear, but ye have received the spirit of adoption, whereby we cry, Abba, Father, you know. So the Lord adopted us again, you know, through Yahweh Shai, you know. Him going up on the cross, you know, willingly, you know, because he didn't have to do that, you know. He had spiritual power at the time, but to stay on topic, you know, Yahweh Shai brought us back to the Father, you know, Yahweh, you know. We were once, you know, Gentiles, you know, and falling away from our heritage and our culture. But now we're coming back, you know. We're coming back, you know, during that time, 2,000 years, you know. And now, you know, because it has to be a falling away first. You know, as the Christians say in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. If I'm not mistaken, you know. He says, verse 16 says, the Spirit itself bear witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Most High. And that's 100%, you know. You know, we're coming back, you know, we're coming back to our language, you know. We're speaking, you know, the Hebrew again, you know. We have the salt, you know, that the scriptures speak of, you know, that flavor, you know, that swag, you know, that the Israelites displayed back in the day, you know. We have a righteousness, you know, to us, you know, and we fit the curses, you know, in Deuteronomy 28, you know, and we're coming back, you know, we're standing upon our feet, you know, in front of our, you know, our oppressors, in front of our enemies, you know, we're standing in great boldness, bringing out this truth, you know, you know, this Israelite truth, you know, of our deliverance, of the destruction of this place, you know. I could end it off, I could really go a little bit more, but I gotta get going. I could end it off with 17, because I do love 18, but I could probably make another video on that. So this is Romans 8 and 17 to end it off. It says, if children, then heirs of the Most High Power, and joint heirs with the Mashiach, if so be that we suffer with him, that we may be also glorified together, you know. So that being said, you know, the Spirit bears witness, you know, that we the children of the living power, you know, Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, you know, we are the ones, you know, that came through the wilderness out of Egypt, you know, and back in New Egypt and modern Egypt, you know. We back in that time, you know, we pretty much in Egypt 2.0. And that being said, you know, once we get out of this place, once we get delivered out of this place, you know, the land of the north, you know, we're going to be joint heirs with Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, you know, getting our new bodies, you know, going back to our land, you know. So many things that the Yahweh Shai is going to offer us, you know, not going to offer us, but he's going to, you know, he's going to give us, you know, the ones that's, you know, that's going to obtain salvation, the hopeful elect, you know. So Lord willing, I hope this lesson was edifying. I'd like to end off by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, B'Shem Yahweh Shai, B'Shem Kapudash. Double honor to the apostles of Great Millstone, told us truth and who will, and the mighty Shalom to the brothers and sisters, you know, out there, you know, on the four corners of the earth, you know, to USA Shalom. Until next time, Baba Ba, soon.